All right, boys and girls, I have stepped outside to work on my tossing and catching today. There's a little bit of breeze, so I'm going to try and talk more clear and more loud so you can hear me. And when I step back, I might get a little bit quieter. I'll try and speak louder because I know it's hard to hear. But I've got several objects here to demonstrate. Remember, for our friends in Kinder and First, I'm going to be working with a bean bag or a sock ball or something like that. As we get older, on into the upper grades, might progress to a tennis ball or something like this rubber ball that has some more weight, a little bit harder, or even a baseball. So you're going to work at your own level on the skills I'm going to demonstrate. I am going to demonstrate with the bean bag because I think it's what most of our students need to see, and it's the most clear for our younger kids. Our older kids know that they need to move up to something more like a ball to practice a skill. So the first one I'm going to work on is being able to toss and catch with the same hand, and I'm going to keep it low. So when I toss, I'm going to move my arm up. I want the beanbag to come up, not much higher than my head, about the height of my head, and then come back to the same hand. As it comes to that hand, my palm is going to be open and my fingers are going to be spread apart, and I'm going to grab to catch it at about my waist. So we're doing toss, catch at your waist. And do it for a while. Do this for about 2 minutes. Get repetitive with it. When you practice with one hand, it's important that you stop every now and then and you practice with your other hand. Toss and catch. And we learned that you're going to be better with one hand than with the other hand. This is my left hand. I'm right-handed, so I'm doing better with my right hand. But make sure you practice them equally. Again, we're tossing, level the head, then back down, and catching. Put your video on pause and play this for about 2 minutes until you get it under good control. And again, for my older students, you're probably working with a ball, a little bit more of a challenge because you can't squeeze it, it's hard. Toss and catch about the height of your head, and make sure you work that other hand in there as well. Press pause and play. And we're back. Hopefully you were catching each time. Remember, if you find that you're dropping it, maybe you're going too fast, you need to go a bit slower. If it's really easy, then you need to work on the speed and get a little bit faster. You should drop it every now and then if you're working at the right challenge. It shouldn't be super easy where you catch it every time. It shouldn't be super hard to where you're chasing the ball everywhere. The other thing I forgot to mention, and I did say this for our little friends last week, you want to practice making your feet planted right now. Later on, we'll do things where we move to catch, but your goal is to have control as you're tossing and make sure that it's coming back to where you're at. You want to control your toss and control your catch. As the beanbag comes down, you want to give a little bit. You want to move the direction it's going, not come up to hit it, because then you'll miss it. As it's coming down, watch it with your eyes and track it as it comes down into your hand and squeeze it on that toss and catch. Okay, we did one hand by itself. We did the other hand by itself. So now we're going to work the same height, about head height. We're going to toss and catch with the other hand. Toss, catch. Then we're going to go back to our other hand. So we're alternating and we're crossing that midline that we talked about last week, and we're getting faster with it. You want to start slow. Toss, catch. Make sure it's good. It's coming where you want it to come to, and then do your other hand back. But the goal is to start working to where we can make it go faster. So over the next 2 minutes, that's what you're going to be working on. Our older friends, you might be using the ball. Still, you want to keep it about hand size. You don't want to be using a basketball or something, because we are doing one-handed activities today. So for the next 2 minutes, you're going to work on toss, catch. Notice my eyes. My eyes are tracking the ball. You're going to hear this in a lot of sports that you play. You're going to hear, keep your eye on the ball. What we're doing right now is we're working on our coordination, where our eyes and our hands are working together so that we can be successful tossing and catching. Toss at your waist, catch at your waist, and the ball goes about the height of your head. Press pause and play for about 2 to 3 minutes. All right, our next challenge is going to have several parts. I am going to adjust the camera a little bit so you can see lower, because what we're going to be doing, we'll be tossing from our waist, but we're going to be catching. It's called how low can you go? See how low we can catch the ground. So I'm going to toss, come down low to try and catch. And I missed it. It's adding a challenge. I'm going to toss, track down low, and try and catch it right before it hits the ground. See if you can get your hand to where it's almost touching the ground when you catch. That is the challenge. You'll start doing it with one hand, and then you'll work on doing it with the other and crossing your midline. Toss and catch as low as you can to the ground. Toss and catch. Now I'm alternating, I'm crossing that midline again, so you've got a lot to work on. Work on toss, catch low with one hand, toss, catch low with the other hand, then cross that midline. Work on that for about the next 5 minutes. See how fast you can get, see how low you can go. Press pause and play. All right, so now we just did how low can you go. If we went low, what do you think we're about to do next? That's right, we're about to go high. So you may not be able to see me toss my beanbag because it's going to be at my waist, and I want you to see how high it is going to go. If you imagine, it would be a little bit higher than the roof in your house. Basketball rim is what we'll be practicing at school. You may not have that at home, so imagine the roof of your house. By the way, notice I'm outside because this would not work inside. Depending on your house, you probably have a low ceiling. If you want to go higher than that, you may need to be outside to practice this, but I'm going to toss it high and catch it as high as I can. I am going to toss it high and catch it high. Again, your feet, you want to try and stay as stationary as you can right now. The goal is to control your toss and have it come up and come back down to you. If you've got to move a little bit, no big problem. It does also help that coordination that we worked on, the hand-eye coordination. Now we're adding our feet. We're having to move our feet a little bit. So don't let it hit the ground if it goes out, but try and adjust your next toss so that you are controlling where it goes up. So again, I'm going to toss from down here, and I'm going to catch above my head. Now, if I did my right side, after I work on it about for a few minutes, I'm going to work on my left side, my other side. Toss and catch. As you can see, I had to use my feet a little bit more because my left side is not as developed as my right. So for about the next 3 or 4 minutes, work on toss low, catch high, and you can also work in that bilateral, the middle. You can work on taking 10 turns with your hands. I'm going to toss with one hand, and I'm going to catch high with the other. I'm going to toss with one hand, catch high with the other. So for the next 2 or 3 minutes, press pause and play. All right, for our next one, we are going to work on some challenges. You ready? First challenge, touch your ears. Next challenge, clap your hands. Next one, touch your knees. That wasn't a challenge. You know why? Because it didn't include tossing and catching. I'm using a ball for this one. Again, my younger students, you're probably using a bean bag or a sock ball, or maybe you're even using a tissue or a scarf in the beginning if it's really, really hard for you. For my older students, you're moving up towards a ball. So I will demonstrate with the ball for this one, but my goal is going to be to toss and to do something in the middle. I'm either going to touch my ear, I'm going to clap my hands, or I'll touch my knees. If I get really good at it, I'm going to try and do all three. Toss. Good. Toss. Ready for another challenge. I'm going to try and touch my ears and clap before I catch it. The way that I can control this challenge a little bit is I can toss higher. It's going to be harder for me to track it, but it does give me more time to do my things in the middle before I catch. Let's see how I can do. I'm going to try and clap and touch my ears. Oh, it took 2 hands. I can work on that because we're working on 1 hand today, so I can still get better. So I don't give up. Got it. Now I might try all 3. I might try touching my knees, clapping, touching my ears, and then catching. Oh, not quite there. I still have something to work on, as do you all. Don't make it too hard for you. If you're not successful, come back to only doing 1 skill in between the catch, or you can alter your item as well. You can move to a sock ball, you can move to a scarf or a tissue if you're having a rough time, and that'll let you work your way up. It takes some time. Go ahead for about 5 minutes. I want you to press pause and play. All right, boys and girls, now I'm going to give you some exploration time to work on the ones that you want to work on, the routines you want to, as far as tossing and catching today. One thing I do want to point out though, before we finish for the day, is something we've worked on some high catching and we've worked on some low catching. And there's some important things that you want to check and make sure you're doing. So first I'm going to start with high. If you're trying to catch an object and it's high, anywhere that's above your shoulder or really above your waist or above your shoulder, you want to make sure that your hand is reaching like this. Your thumbs and your fingers are mostly pointed up to be able to grab the item. Now we're going to shift to down low. Anytime you're trying to catch something at your waist or below your waist, your thumbs should be out. Your fingers point out, not up. They're pointing out so you make a flat place for the ball to come in and you can grab and catch it, okay? So that's something that we're gonna expand on as we work some more on tossing and catching, is that overhand and underhand, the shift that happens there. But watch for that as you're practicing today in your exploration. Use the rest of your time to work on the ones that you wanna work on further. Challenge yourself with some of those ear touches or knees or clapping. You can add more than one clap if you want to. Try and see how far you can get. And again, it's up to you. You can increase the height of the throw. As you increase the height of the toss or the throw, it gives you more time, but it's also more of a challenge to keep your eye on the object, on the ball, beanbag, scarf, whatever you're using, and be able to keep up with it. Hope you all have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you around.